Meanwhile, let's quickly address our two big questions which we take to our panelists. How to check stray dog menace now? Population regulation, is that the ideal solution? But what is the stopgap till we find and reach that goal? Nationwide crackdown needed, something that the top court also touched upon today. Joining me, Anish Gawande, animal lover and spokesperson on NCP, Dr. Sanjeev Bagai, chairperson, Nephron Clinic. I'd like to begin with Dr. Sanjeev Bagai. Dr. Bagai, you've come on my show multiple times. You were one of the staunchest supporters of the original Supreme Court order, but now that order stands changed. Are you happy with the new order, which many think is more acceptable and possibly more humane?
Good evening, everyone. So I think we need to stop making a distinction that in case you don't care for animals, that means you hate animals. So in the same breath, likewise, if someone doesn't care for children in terms of treating children, it doesn't mean that they hate children. The only issue is of public safety and health of children, elderlies, and the vulnerable, which are the specially abled or disabled. My limited observations on the present Supreme Court Honorable Justice's order is as follows. When we vaccinate and then we sterilize and we bring them back on the streets, there is no guarantee at all from 0 to 100 that these dogs will not bite. Our focus so far has been highlighted on multiple television platforms of rabies. Rabies, yes, is a distinct threat. India has the largest population of rabies. The reports are underreported by WHO statement also. But the issue is that the dog saliva and the bites contain hundreds of bacteria which are antibiotic resistant. Point number two, 40% of the children who have been bitten by stray dogs are children. Just by the height and stature of children, the dog bites, most of them, majority, more than 50% of them are on head, face, neck. A vast majority of these children require extensive surgeries, reconstructive surgeries. There is nerve damage, there is bone damage, and so on. The elderlies, especially when they are being chased by stray dogs, the most common event which happens as a mishap is a fall. Fracture neck femurs, head injuries are extremely common. We don't talk of those eventualities. I think it's important to look at the picture in totality. Under any set of circumstances, I am absolutely clear there should be no cruelty to any animal, including dog or any other animal. But the issue is, how do we distinguish between an aggressive dog and a non-aggressive dog? The behavior pattern can change at any given point of time. These same stray dogs litter and then they defecate all over the colonies, spreading infections. We don't have the manpower, we don't have the resources, we don't have the scalability to vaccinate these 12 lakh dogs in Delhi, to immunize them, to sterilize them, and then you're bringing them back into the society. My limited point is public safety, health concerns for children and the elderly and the vulnerable is of paramount importance. Over to you.
All right. Dr. Bagai has made some strong points. Anish, who joins us more in the capacity today of an animal lover, less as a spokesperson of the NCP. Anish, the order has been welcomed by everybody. And I would think even most people who supported the original order were not really anti-dogs or wanted to cull the dogs in the streets. There was a genuine problem. Until the time we reach that kind of dimension where we are talking about sterilizing the dogs, putting them back on the streets, there are still going to be 9 to 10 lakh dogs, especially in the Delhi NCR region, and the dog bite numbers are still going to be very high.
Preeti, thank you for having me. And let me start off by saying that I am an animal lover, but I'm a cat lover. So I just rescued 5 cats and I want stray dogs off the streets as much as anyone else does, right? And I think the problem is that over the course of the last few days, this has become an incredibly divisive, heated, emotional issue. And we've lost sight of the public policy question that is at the stake of this issue. Now, unfortunately, this level of a stray dog menace is caused by decades of municipal corporation inaction, right? The last count that was held for dogs, and that was over a decade ago, much like the last count for people was held 15 years ago, showed that Mumbai had 90,000 stray dogs and Delhi had nearly 3 lakh stray dogs. This reflects a failure of Delhi to implement the ABC measures over the course of the last 2 decades.
Anish, I completely agree with you. Nobody is denying the fact that the MCD has been an abject failure in this job. We are once again entrusting the MCD to carry out the work that it did not do earlier. And number two, because the MCD failed at its job, the citizens pay the price for it today, and they'll continue to do so. Are we okay with that is the question.
I don't think we are. And unfortunately, I think the only option we've been left with, and it's a false option, is a magic wand solution, much like a magic wand solution for poverty is putting up G20 hoardings or sort of putting up any kind of hoardings. And much like a magic wand solution is fixing water woes overnight, regardless of which government has been in power and caused those water problems to begin with. And in a similar way, the problem we're faced with today is you have three options, right? Which have been presented to you by the court. One is culling, which is the quickest way of getting dogs off the street, but we know it doesn't work. It's not humane, and it would be abjectly cruel, right? We've seen that it doesn't work in Turkey, it doesn't work in Romania, because stray dogs from neighboring areas will just replace the ones that exist. The second option is sending all dogs to shelters. Now, unfortunately, this is absurdly expensive. For an MCD that does not have enough money for DTDC buses or the Delhi Jal Board, it's simply impractical to send every dog to a shelter as much as we would like to, right? Everyone wants a control in the number of stray dogs on the street. So the third option, and unfortunately not a perfect option that we're left with, is vaccinate, sterilize, and release. Because this is a way of ensuring that one, new stray dogs from neighboring areas don't take the place of old ones. And therefore, if you have an actually national mission, which I'm glad the Supreme Court has mandated today, you can actually get a stab at solving this issue. But instead of a 15,000 crore rupees shelter program, if we can just hike the budget from the 55 crores spent by the MCD over the course of the last decade to a modest sum supported by central grants, we'll come at somewhere close to a solution.
Like I said, there are larger questions, but Dr. Bagai wants to make a quick point. Go ahead, sir.
Just a very quick point I want to make. In fact, two quick points. One is what's the cost of a human life? What's the cost of a full career and life of a child and a family? The amount of money which we will be spending in terms of sterilization, catching the dogs, vaccinating them, putting them back again, the manpower and the resources, who's going to monitor it? Who's going to survey it? Are we going to have these dog policemen or dog squads? Where is the infrastructure even to do it? It is better that we shelter the dogs in a proper manner and safeguard human lives.
Okay.
Point number two, very quickly, is when you are looking at the finances, I want the government and the Supreme Court to actually have an audit of where the money which has been given and allocated for
That's
the
a good
dog
one.
care from MCD, where has the money gone? Has it been spent? Has it been misused?
And I'll give you a figure. I'll give you a figure. I'll give you a figure which is abysmal, and it just shows the incompetence of the MCD, because in 2022, 2021, the financial year, 500 crores that the MCD had, it just spent 70 lakhs when it came down to sterilization and shelters, and that's just not enough to cut it. So that's how abysmal the MCD performed. I appreciate both you gentlemen for joining us, and I think it's a larger question where not just dogs are concerned, but all stray animals are concerned. I might be a rare person, and Anish is a cat lover, but I've actually been bitten by a stray cat. So I'm going to leave it at that. And the rabies injections were horrible and not something that I ever look forward to again. But I'm going to let it be. I appreciate both you gentlemen for joining us.